Yeat just released his new album Afterlife, and I feel like this one's kind of interesting. Of course, has those same generic Yeat songs, but there are a couple that I think are kind of out of his realm, and they kind of work well. But I think overall, the album isn't really that great. There's some not that good songs, and while there are a couple that I would say I really, really like, I just think as an album on the whole, a 22 track album that's a minute and seven or an hour and 7 minutes long just doesn't really work as a whole, especially when there's so much kind of changing of genres and like experimenting with stuff, but also going back to your old generic roots. It's kind of weird, but let's go track by track. No More Life. I really like the production on this album, or on this song actually, but I don't really like Yeat's screaming vocals and all the random sound effects on the song. I actually like Yeat's flow on the verses. I feel like he's kind of not as choppy and kind of lets him go with a very solid flow. I don't like the flow and rhythm of the choruses. I feel like it doesn't really suit his voice. His voice doesn't have any inflection. It's kind of really flat throughout the chorus. I really like the 808s on the beat, and that kind of carries the song. Schmunk, I don't really like Yeat's voice on the chorus, as I feel like his voice is kind of mixed weirdly and just doesn't fit with the beat. It kind of sounds like an intro verse for the whole chorus because the voice is mixed in so weirdly. The verse is a lot better for Yeat, and I feel like it's pretty solid. I like the dynamic production, really hard-hitting 808s. I think NBA Youngboy works pretty well on the song and fits the production extremely well. The verses of both of them are pretty good, but the chorus is just kind of boring and bad, which knocks the song a few spots down. Better Off, the beat's tempo is a lot more slowed down. I think the hits are a little bit better off being soft. I think the song is kind of just boring though, and doesn't really sound that much different from Yeat's regular songs. It's kind of like a slowed down version, like one of those slowed down reverb songs. I don't really like the slow tempo, as I feel like the song kind of just lasts for way too much time, as it could have been over in like 2 minutes 30 seconds, and because it's slow it kind of has like more of that. But I guess this could be like one of those cool TikTok sped up sounds and sound a lot better. Rave Party, the production is interesting again, but I feel like his vocals are mixed in weirdly and the lyrics are kind of just crazy on this one. I like the pulsating production, but again the song is a little bit too repetitive with two large choruses and the tiny verse. It's kind of just a regular Yeat song, doesn't do anything special, with a pretty boring chorus and just a couple funny lyrics. None I'd Change. I actually really like this song. I really like the bouncy production on this song, and Yeat kind of moves into a whole new lane and style on the song. I don't like all the delay on his voice, which really kind of screws the song for me because it just repeats back and forth in your headphones. But I feel like he sounds really good on the super bouncy beat. I feel like I wish he kind of had his own like verse on this song. I think it's just two choruses stacked together. But I feel like this is a super interesting type of production that you could explore more on an album. And I think if he just made like a little EP of this, I feel like it'd be really cool and a really solid sound from Yeat. I wish this song just had a verse or the chorus is kind of shortened down. Whoa. I don't like Yeat's voice on this one, as he kind of just sounds bored the whole chorus. The beat is really boring to me. I don't think Yeat or the beat do anything in this song to make it likable. On the verse, Yeat sounds a lot better, but the chorus takes up like 75% of the song, which makes it all kind of boring. Now the production is pretty cool and unique, but I don't really like the effects on Yeat's voice, as they make him kind of unbearable to listen to. I get the whole point is that Lil Geeky is on the song with him, but the production is really good and toned down. I feel without Lil Geeky, the song could be really good. The song doesn't really justify its 4-minute runtime, but the production I feel like is really cool and interesting. Slam. Yeat comes back with a lot of energy, and I feel like this song is a lot more similar to his normal style. He slows it down with a lot more for the verse, and I just don't really like the chorus with this repetition of slam all the time. 7 Nights, I feel like the production is pretty boring. I feel like Yeat comes in with some more interesting vocals, and it doesn't really do anything to impress me though. This song to me is just kind of boring and generic. Mean Fiend, the production again is pretty boring and generic with a simple dark trap beat. Yeat does a little bit to help it sound more interesting. The song is just disappointing. It doesn't have an actual verse, just a chorus repeated twice, which I feel like is a pretty common thing on this album. How It Go. Love this song. Like the fast tempo production. And while it sounds pretty generic for a Yeat song, he brings in this really great energy, and his flow works well with the beat. I think this has got to be one of the hits on this album. It just sounds great. Yeat's flow and energy really carry this song. I feel like this should be one of the most popular songs on this album. It just kind of feels refreshing compared to the rest of the songs on the album. Low-key disappointed though, there's no talking about on this, even for just like a 1 second type thing. It'd be kind of funny. But, it's probably the best song on the album, so it's chill. Something to Do. I like Yeat's energy that he brings on the song. And again, the production is generic, but I think with his flow and energy kind of works, but it's just kind of a generic Yeat song. A pretty solid one, though. Back Up. The song is really quick and the production is generic. While Yeat sounds good on this song, it kind of just goes in and out quickly and doesn't have any lasting power. Split is another very generic beat, and while I do like Yeat's inflection on his voice on the chorus, it's just kind of another cool Yeat song, especially with a very repetitive, strong structure with the chorus repeating twice. It just doesn't really do it for me. Bad Ben Demon. I like the production on this song and would like a Yeat kind of self-produced EP album because I feel like this was one of the better beats on the entire album. The Big Ben part to me was a little bit better than the Demon part, and I think that overall this might be one of the more interesting songs on the album, and I feel like Yeat's production on this song is really good and works well to just fit his own voice. Heavyweight, I hate this song just because of the repetition of "ah woo" part throughout the chorus. It's so distracting to the actual song as Yeat's voice kind of takes a back seat to it. September's Rich kind of works on the song well, but the song is just genuinely terrible, as the "ah woo" part is so distracting. Watch, the song has kind of an interesting start with Yeat's whispering style and the super toned down beat. The song is again kind of weird, and I just don't like the whispering flow on the chorus, and I don't think it works well for any song. I like the generic Yeat sounding production, and his flow on the song works well to fit with the hard-hitting 808s. He brings a lot more energy to the song, and I feel like it sounds a lot better as he comes in with banger line after line. The song is great, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air for the album. Back Home, the guitar sounding beat is really interesting switch up from Yeat. I don't really think it works with his vocals. The slow tempo of the beat just doesn't work on the verse and a large part of the chorus, but towards the end of the chorus, Yeat sounds pretty solid. The oh part also just doesn't really work as it conflicts with his voice. Type Money, I like the production a lot better, and I feel like Yeat flows over really solidly over the beat for a lot of the song. When he goes with a deeper flow, it doesn't work as well for me, and his flow just sounds worse. His flow in the chorus is pretty damn good, though, and kind of carries the song. Demon Tide, the production is pretty generic, and I don't like the delay effects on Yeat's voice. The song has a lot more energy and works pretty solidly, but it's just a generic Yeat song with some energy. Myself, another guitar beat. I like how Yeat sounds on it, even though it's not really anything special. The strings coming at one point kind of got me hopeful, but they just come in at certain points. And I feel like the song could have been something special, but, it's like a Yeat song. They're not trying to do too much with it, but I feel it still is kind of like an interesting and solid song that Yeat kind of surprisingly sounds good on. And just overall, I think this album is pretty solid. I mean, it's not really anything more than what I expected from Yeat, but it's not really a good album as a whole. And while there are some kind of interesting points, I think, as a whole, this is not a good album. To me, it's probably a 3 out of 10 just because there isn't really anything on here. Like a couple of songs I'd listen to, but I'm saying as a 22-track, hour and 7-minute piece, all coming together as a whole, just doesn't really work for me. While there are some songs I think are like 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s, there's a lot of these that were just boring and repetitive, and a lot of things that he was trying to do that just didn't really work for me.